Hello. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through a buyer's template on Zipforms. And I will be doing another video on a listing template. The reason why you would want to have a template is because it's going to help you have everything ready whenever you want to make an offer. So, for example, the forms that you use to make an offer are going to be there. You're going to have most items pre-filled already and ready to go. So let's just get started. You start off by going into car.org and you're going to sign into Zipforms. If you haven't registered yet, you're probably going to have to go in and sign in and register your new account. There is a NERDS, which is RND code or a number they might ask for. You could obtain that number by calling the your board of realtors. So, anyways, once you have, let's just say you've already done all of this, you have registered and you have access to Zipforms. Let's get started. So we start with car.org. We're going to click on access now or Zipforms to get access in here. So let's hit continue, and this will open up a window that will take us into Zipforms. So let me get started here. So when you log in here, the dashboard for Zipforms on here, you're going to see dashboard, transactions, templates, contact, etc. Right now, this automatically goes into transactions for myself here. You can change those options so that it logs whenever you log in. It goes directly into dashboard or whatever you want. Here in the transactions, I have all the transactions that I have active, pending, etc., etc. Let's just get started here. So if you see here on the very top, you have the option for templates. That's where we're going. And today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a buyer's template, right? So you see here that I have already created two templates, right? One's a buyer agreement, the other one's a listing agreement. This video, we're going to be covering this. Watch the links for the next video that will be covering listings, right? So just to get started here, what you're going to do, since you don't have any of these two, you're going to start off by going to new, and you click new. And in your case, this is going to be a new purchase offer. So you click on purchase offer. Now here you're going to say um, um, buyers. I have them under buyer's agreement, but um, you could name it whatever you want. You could say buyer's template, whatever you want to say it, but buyer's agreement's fine. Whichever you choose, this is the name that you're going to have on here. The property type, typically you're going to be dealing with residential, so you click on residential there. And then this is important actually. What happens here is whenever you create a template for a purchase, then the template's going to automatically or the system's going to automatically populate the template, right? This is important because when we're using, I'm going to show you other methods when you watch the other videos, but when you make an offer through the MLS, you're looking at the property and you go through RPR to transfer the information. When you transfer that information and open a new Zipforms for a new transaction that you want to make an offer on, this allows it to automatically apply that template, right? So that's that. And in this case, you wouldn't have anything. I actually don't even know if it's going to allow you to do this yet, but eventually you want to have that selected. So you click save, and it does. So it allows you to do that now. So now, buyer's template, this is what you have here. And the next step is for you to add forms, right? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go into my template that I already have my forms in. And what we're going to do is you're going to stay here, but you're going to click on all forms. And then you're going to go form by form, selecting the ones I tell you to select, right? So very simple. Right now, as you can see, here's all the names of the forms. Once you've selected a form to be added onto the template, this is going to show like this. It's going to be blue. So I'll show you what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. Stay here. Let me go into my template, and then I'm going to show you what options you need to select. So This is the template I have here. So now you should have stayed where I told you to stay there, right? So now, first thing first, you click on cover sheet. And once you click on cover sheet, what's going to happen is that this form will automatically be thrown in here. So give it a try. Select cover form. Next step is to select the residential purchase agreement. Next step is select the addendum number 1 and select the addendum number 2. This should be populating. Let me show you real quick how it, just for demonstration purposes. You see how it says it was added? It added just by me clicking on there. So anyways, you just need addendum 1, addendum 2. Let's continue down the board here. You're going to need agent visual inspection disclosure 1. You're going to scroll down and you're going to select buyer counter. You're going to scroll down and you're going to select buyer home warranty association advisory. You're going to go down. You're going to select buyer rep agreement exclusive. You're going to scroll down and you're going to select contingency removal number 1. So all of these should be automatically be added over here as soon as you click on them, right? So let's continue on here. The next one you need to throw in here is market conditions advisory. Scrolly all the way down. Notice of your supplemental property tax. You know what? Actually, you don't need to add that one. You could disregard that one. I have it in there, but disregard. Don't throw that one in there. You don't really need it unless you want to. Receipt for reports. Go ahead and select that one. That's one that comes up when you're working your file. Representative capacitive signature. And this one, if you could see on there, it's for buyer. There's another form that's for seller. So just make sure you select the one that's for buyer. That's the first one. Request for repairs. Trust advisory. Verification of property condition. That's it. Simple enough. So now let's get started this way here. So the first one we selected was cover sheet. What's going to happen is we're going to go in here and you're going to start populating some information. And some of the information you populate on here is going to automatically be thrown to the next forms, right? So let's select it and let's see what I'm talking about, right? So here, I'm sorry. So first things first, since we're dealing with the buyer, this is the buyer when you're making an offer. What you want to do is, this is your template. You're gonna select this box and select this box. What's gonna happen? It's gonna put an X anywhere where the buyer needs to sign, right? We scroll down, page 2. So this is gonna save you some time. Just go ahead under county, put Riverside on here, and then for the state, type in CA, California, right? Down here under the offer, for expiration, you want to put 5 and then select the PM. So what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that on your purchase agreement, the expiration should be, typically it's going to be on there on the 3rd day by 5 p.m. That's what it shows on here. Next one here is property type. Select residential. Very likely that's where you're going to be working with. Let's just say if you were to go into into a transaction and that wasn't the case, you'll be able to change it. But we're setting up these templates so that you could use them for the most common reason you're going to be sending an offer for, right? So if it's going to be a vacant land or vacant lot, you'll be able to go in there and just change it, but a lot of the stuff will still be populated. So it's going to save you time for most of your offers anyway. So let's go down here under escrow information. Select an escrow company. So you want to type in here an escrow company you have a relationship with, or an escrow company that you want to use. You want to build relationships with your escrow officer, with your title rep. You want to, they're going to be part of your team. So you want people you can count on. So when you're making these offers, you're gonna, you're gonna push for these services with people who you know and trust, and who they're going to be capable to navigate the transaction and make the deal happen, right? So anyways, here, for example, I have escrow plus, and then I have dash Priscilla Blacketer. That's the escrow officer. And I have put on here or seller's choice. So I always leave it to be seller's choice. It depends on the situation. If you're going in there and it's very competitive, you might not, and you have other offers you're competing against, you might not have the option to really try to negotiate this one, and you might just have to go with seller's choice. If you're really in a competitive offer situation, you might just want to call that agent and ask him what services he's going to want, and then you're going to put in here. Not on this template. I'm talking about once you go and make an offer, obviously, right? So this template here is just to save the most used information. From here, page 3, this is where you enter your information, right? So real quick, enter by broker's name, which is Keller Williams Realty. Enter the address, 47100 Washington Street, Suite 101. The city is La Quinta, state California, and then zip code 92253. Now here, telephone number, this is where you enter your cell phone number. And my suggestion is enter the number you're going to be answering, right? So most of us, it's going to be the cell phone. So I'm entering my telephone number as my cell phone. I put in my name, and then under agent's phone number, again, I have my cell phone number. We do have an office fax number. So the office fax number is 760-771-3063. Again, this is where you enter your name and your phone number, please. Your phone numbers. Fax number, you could use this one. This is the office number. And then again, cell phone number. So again, I just type in my cell phone number in there again. Email address, this is the email address you're going to be using for business, where you want the offer to be sent back to. This is always, where you want to put that in there. Selling office. So selling office, this is the broker's number. So the broker's DRE number, 015-22739. And then selling agents, this is your DRE number. So you want to enter your DRE number on here, please. And continue on. Next portion here is title. So with title, same thing I said with escrow, you want to select those team members. They're going to be your team members, those people you can count on, right? So my example here, I actually use Troy with Orange Coast Title. So I have OCT Troy Wixom or seller's choice. Again, going back to my main point, if you're in a competitive situation, you just want to select the services the seller wants. Or if you call them and you ask up front, that could save you time. So even if you try to negotiate your services, either title or escrow, up front, it saves you time from having to deal with the counter offer. So when you're dealing with the competitive situation, you just want them to accept your offer. You don't want any counters, because that's good delay things, or it puts it back on their court, and they have the choice now. So anyways, so here you go. Title, select your title rep there. You know what, on these, disregard, you don't have to put it. It's actually not going to populate anyway, so don't worry about that one. Disclosures, this one does pop up on there. So when it comes to NHD, typically it is the seller's choice, and many times as soon as they list the property, the listing agent already has an NHD selected, right? So I still put in here America West NHD, and it's Jan Wishaw. Actually, she just changed. They're not now going to be my NHD. So let me just do that here real quick. My NHD, Jan Wishaw, or seller's choice. I'll leave it that way because many times they already selected it. But last one here, home warranty protection. So First American Home Warranty is the one we select on here, or the one actually you select the option you want to do. I'll talk a little bit about why we select this one on here, and it's typically because there's one price or two prices we only have to deal with, and we don't have to worry about the pool being salt or freshwater pool, and that's the reason why we select this one. But again, same thing. You need to find a company or a rep that's really someone you could trust, and that's how you select your home warranty. Some people do opt to have a choice once they go into escrow, and you could instead of doing First American Home Warranty, you could always just type in here buyer's choice or buyers to select, right? So I believe that's it on this one here. So we want to go ahead and hit save once you've done everything there. And by the way, I'm showing you to hit save, but many times you'll see as you're populating, this thing comes up. So the system should be automatically saving your entries, okay? So hit back. Let's go into the RPA. All right, so residential agreement. So here, as we scroll down, you just want to make sure that you see these two are selected. Obviously, when you're working with only one buyer, then you might want to unselect that one. But even if you leave it there, it's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, right? So you just want to make sure your name's on here, your license number, broker's number, and Keller Williams. So this is the AD. There's 2 pages in the AD. You go down here, scroll down, and make sure Keller Williams and your name is here, as well as the broker's number and your number. You keep going down. And now we find ourselves with the initial RPA. So as you remembered, we typed in a Riverside because most of the time we're going to be dealing with the Riverside County. So then now that automatically populates on here. Now, number 2, most escrows you're going to be dealing with might be residential, and there could be a loan. Typically, on average, 30 days is most of the time what most people have as an escrow, right? So save some time. You click on this box and you enter 30 on here. So that's your 30-day escrow. This one might already be automatically selected. So I'm not sure if it is or it's not, but if it's not, just make sure it's selected on there. This one shows that you have given them the agency disclosure that was right on the top. From here, confirmation. So here, what you want to do is you want to click on this first box, because we still don't know who the listing agent would be, right? This is just a template. But for now, just select check mark the seller. So the listing or seller's brokerage is going to be representing the seller. And then you select also the seller's agent. So whomever that agent is, they're representing the seller. And now this should be populated already. So it should have Keller Williams. It should have your name, Keller Williams broker number, and your number. And then same thing here. Keller Williams is representing the buyer, and then you as an agent are representing the buyer. So make sure those two are selected. Next one here should automatically be selected already. If it's not, make sure it is. This is just the PRBS, which was on top also. We just passed it. Just making sure it says that you're giving them a copy of that, right? And they're signing. From here on, initial deposit, we don't know, obviously, until you make the offer. Typically 1%, 2%, or up to 3% of the offer. It depends on how competitive you want to be. Uh, Here, it does state that the buyer will direct deposit the money within 3 days of the escrow or the offer being accepted. If you're going to choose otherwise, you want to make sure you click on here and select uh, buyer to decide or buyer's choice, right? Because if you're not sure how they're going to be depositing, the EMD or initial deposit, then you want to select that one. Typically, you really want to stick to what the contract says. So if and actually, this is the most advisable thing to do anyways. You do not want to take cash money. Just have them do a direct deposit, or which is typically done through a wire transfer. Anyways, let's continue carrying on here. Currently, we've talked about this, and our attorney has spoken about it. You do want to select here, um, and put in a rate. So depending on what the going rate is right now, which I know it's lower than this, you just want to put a top rate, right? You don't want, if you don't put anything in here, then your buyer could be pretty much um, responsible to continuing with the transaction, even if the rate goes, way up, and that's because we did not put a rate to exceed. So just follow what I put on here: 5.25, not to exceed 5.25, and then not to exceed 1 point. So that gives your buyer an opportunity to back out of a deal if they could not find a loan lower than lower than 5.25, and without exceeding 1 point, right? So that's that. Just remember one thing: whenever you're making your offers, you want to make sure that you put in here what kind of a loan it is. Um, if it's FHA or VA, you always want to select those options there, right? So, anyways, I'll make a video on about the RPA so you could get a better opportunity to understand it. But for now, let's just move on here. So on E, you type this in, please. Seller shall pay up to 3% of purchase price of buyer's recurring and non-recurring closing costs. And then period. And then we have buyer has pre-approval for financing with whomever your loan officer typically is. So whoever that relationship you have with, you might just want to throw them in there, right? Franklin Loan Center, First West Financial, whoever it is, you put them in there. So that's just letting them know, or it's saving you time, really, right? So at any point, hit pause. If I'm going too fast, I'm going to continue going. Let's go to this one. So this is page 2 of the RPA. There's really nothing here to change, except we did add this little thing here on item 6. Um, you're going to see here. So here it says the loan and appraisal contingencies specific on RPA 3I and J shall remain in effect until the designated loans are funded. So you could put that in there. You could have it saved. My recommendation is, if you're competing against other offers, you might want to erase this here. So the purpose of this here, just so you know, is back years back, we used to have this built into the RPA. This is something that we talked with our attorney about not too some months back. This is a good way to protect your buyers. Everything we're doing here on this template is really to protect our buyers, or to give them the most out of this deal. So that's why we're putting a lot of this verbiage in here. But at any point when you're making the offer, you could just delete or erase any of these that might not apply, right? So this is already automatically selected, just so we know. But go ahead and type that in there if you're dealing with situations where you're dealing with buyers and you want them to be protected all the way until the end of the loan, or all the way until the end when the loan funds, then that's going to work. My bet is, many times if you send it off like this, the other listing agent, they're probably going to come back at you and counter that. But just that's up to you. All right, let's carry on here. So on here, select under for inspections, select seller to pay, and then you want to check box environmental. So this is for the NHD. Remember, we entered this information, so it's populating already automatically. And so you should see whatever NHD company you put in there. Next one here in the bottom, you want to select seller to pay. Seller to pay for smoke alarm and carbon monoxide installation and water heater bracing. This is required by law. Typically, this is something the seller would pay for anyways. And then over here in the bottom, you're going to see since we are working for the buyer and this is the offer for the buyer, we select pretty much almost everything here, right? So the reason behind that is, hey, we don't want to miss anything. Now, when you're working through the offer, you could always uncheck mark anything. So just FYI. But for now, check mark seller, escrow and title. This is where you do put both. So even if you're going to ask for help with closing costs, you always need to select two. That's indicating that each buyer and seller has their own fees. However, on the first page of the RPA, you're requesting closing costs. So that's fine. It's going to work out fine. You still have to type this in, please. So just type, make sure you check box both. And this would apply even if you were to erase, the help for closing costs. This would always apply. So each shall pay their own. This means that the buyer pays their own fees, the seller pays their own fees. There's agents that go out there and do 50-50. What happens there is that, all the fees are summed up and then they're divided 50-50. It might work out good for your buyer, but not for the seller, and so and so. So it's just better to have everybody pay their own fees. From there on, we selected our escrow company. So whomever you selected should be on here. We also, you want to check on this one. Typically, the seller pays for the title insurance. So select seller, and then whomever you selected for title should be showing on here. Next, you want to select seller shall pay on these three, and then type in if any. So you could type in if any or if applicable. So that's going to help out if you ever send this offer and you forget to unmark anything. It's always going to be if applicable. So obviously, seller shall pay for homeowners association transfer fee, if any, or if applicable. What that means is if there's one. If there isn't an HOA in this community, then you're fine, right? They might still come back and counter you and take it off, but hey, that's just one way to make sure that you cover your bases if you send in the offer and actually they have an HOA, right? So seller shall pay for HOA fees. Typically, seller does pay for the docs to be prepared. Seller shall pay for any transfer or private fees, if any. I always have that one because there's some communities that were built by some builders like Lennar or whomever the builder is, and they have a private transfer fee there that applies whenever they sell the property. So yes, that's typically something you want to make sure you have on there in case it's on there. This was up to you. You could select to have the seller pay for professional home cleaning at the time of close of escrow. A lot of agents have expressed that they wanted this in here because many times they walk in there and it's a mess, right? They just moved out and the seller didn't have the courtesy of cleaning the property, right? So if you get them to agree to this, then now they're saying that they're going to have a professional home cleaner go in there and clean it up before the close of escrow, right? This last one we talked about home warranty, right? So you want to click on here because you're going to be requesting that for the seller to pay, and then you want to make sure you select air conditioning and pool and spa. The reason why why I use First American Home Title and Warranty is because we don't have to worry about the pool. And let me just clarify that. So real quick, if there is no pool, I have two prices on here. So when I'm making the offer, I'm going to erase one of these depending on what the situation is. If there's a pool, I will erase the 530. I think this one just went up. Actually, it should be 540. Oops. So I'm going to erase the 540 and leave the 700. If there's no pool, then I erase the 700 and I erase the pool whenever I'm making the offer, just so you know. But the reason behind this one is because with the First American, if they have a pool at $700 and it covers salt or um, uh, salt or a regular pool, right? So, and there's a difference because what happens is with some home warranty companies, if it's a saltwater pool, the fee the amount actually goes up. So this is going to save you from having to uh, put some money in there because you didn't You did not put in the right amount for the one that has a pool, that has a saltwater pool. So that means you have to go there and make sure, is this a regular pool, or is this a saltwater pool? Because you're going to need to know that, because the equipment that's in there is different, and the home warranty might not cover it if you didn't select the right one. If you choose First American Home Warranty, you don't even have to worry about it, right? All you need to worry about is, does it have a pool or not, and then you select which one it is. I always click upgraded, air conditioning, and pool. All right, let's move on. Items included. I always have selected stove, all all refrigerators, and then all washers and dryers, right? So what this is saying is all existing fixtures will remain with the property, and then you're just selecting these additional items. Many times, if there's not a washer dryer in there, I will uncheck it, right? Or if there's no fridge, I will uncheck it. But for the most part, this is what we have going on here. The next one you want to check is this one. This one will cover you if there's big holes because somebody had a mounted TV and removed the TV and the brackets. Sometimes those could be leaving big holes. This just makes sure that if they do that, they're gonna cover it up. Next one on here. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. We're gonna go all the way down to this page, which is page 6 of 10. So on page 6 of 10, go ahead and put 21. Again, this is going to give your buyer more time for his inspections. So typically he has 17 days to do all of his inspections. You're here selecting 21 days, giving them more time. Again, if you're in a competitive situation, when you're making the offer, erase this. But for now, give your buyer more time. And then this one here also for notice to perform. Heath, our broker, recommends we at least give 3 days or have 3 days for the notice to perform. Typically it's 2. Again, I always leave that one in there. If the other agent wants to counter it, then they could. But let's move on. Down, down, down. Scrolly, scrolly. And, well, did we forget anything? 21 days. Feels like we forgot something. Might have been on this one here. Oh, no. We're set. Okay, so we're done. It looks like we're almost done here. So let's go down here, and on page 9 of the RPA, we should have expiration. So a copy of the sign offer shall be personally received by, and that should have your name, and then offer expires by 5 p.m. on the 3rd day. So you have it on here, 5 p.m. Real quick, you come down here, make sure your information is here. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go back, and it's already automatically saved. And let's carry on. So now let's move on to our next one, which here I have as addendum. It should be, our next one should be addendum 1. So find it on here, addendum 1. So addendum 1, just select purchase and then type in 1. It's that simple. Hit save, go out of there. Addendum 2, click on here, select 1, and then put other, and you're going to put in this verbiage here. This is for the termite requests. The reason we put it on here and not on the RPA is because if it's on the RPA, this could really screw up a deal. The lenders will get to see everything, and many times there's recommendations that really don't apply. They're part of Section 2, not part of Section 1. And even though the lender's only concerned with Section 1, an underwriter could go in there and say, hey, you need to fix what's showing up on Section 2. So this is the best way to bulletproof your transaction, right? So seller shall pay for a professional certified wood destroying pest inspection prepared by the seller's choice of company. That's it. Save. Get out of there. The next one should be, uh, I think there's nothing in here. Let's just double check. Yeah, there's nothing here. Buyer rep agreement. So on the buyer rep agreement, it has an AD on here. It should just have your information. This is the one you typically sit down with the buyer during the buyer consultation. This protects you, and essentially, there's an agreement between you and the buyer, and he has selected you as his agent, right? So this should show Keller Williams, and then on here you want to put any and all properties, and then you want to scroll down here, and you want to select this third option, and you want to put in seller shall pay all commissions. Buyers typically don't pay you, right? You're paid through the seller, through the commission that's being offered. The next option here, 120. So you want to type in 120 on here. That just states that, you should be paid for anything that you've shown the buyer. And you're protected for 4 months pretty much on anything you've shown them, right? Let's scroll down here, and I think that's it. Just make sure your information's there, and we're done. Hit save if it's not saved yet. Go back. Agent visual. Click on agent visual. So on agent visual, first page, it should show Riverside there automatically. It should show Keller Williams there automatically. Let's scroll down here, and let's type in, if it's not in there, it's actually probably in there already. But now just put in inspection, 11 a.m. and sunny. You want to type these in here just so you can remember to put them in there when you're doing your inspection. So you could always go in here and erase these and select what was the date or what the time. But these are just reminders to make sure you don't miss those things, right? Here, no visual defects. Just type it in there. Normally, you'll go in here and you'll try to be. It's a visual inspection, so just remember that. If you have any questions on how to do that, feel free to reach out to me or Chris Jennings or anybody in the office. But no visual inspection, type it in there. That way you remember what you should type if you don't see anything. Bedroom 1, type in here and put master bedroom, and then bath 1, master bedroom. Scroll down, make sure your name and Keller Williams' name's on here. Same in the bottom here. That's it. Save. Scroll down, buyer counter, select seller counter 1. So what happens is once you send in an offer, the seller could always counter you. And if you needed to counter them back, this is saying that this is in response to the seller counter offer 1, right? Simple enough. Your name should be on here already. That's it. Save. Let's go back. Let's continue on here. So representative capacitive. These might not be in order the way you see them, but just go through them as I walk through them. So there's nothing really to put in here. Let's go back. Hit pause at any point if I'm moving too fast. Trust advisory. Let's select here. I don't believe there's anything here for you. Nope. Perfect. Buyer, homeowner association. I don't believe there's anything in here. Nothing in here. Request for repairs. Yeah, really nothing. You just type in 1. So on request for repairs, put 1 on there. And verification of property. Should be nothing on here. Yeah. And I think we went over this one, addendum 1, right? So just make sure you have 1 and RPA. That's it. I think I had added this one on here. You really don't need this addendum 3. I'm going to delete it. I don't want it in my templates. And that's it. Simple enough. This is how you select the template. Before I forget, there is the option to add our KW forms in here. And for that, you have the option. These are Carol Williams particular forms. We have maybe about 3 or 4 in the office. You are able to download these from mykw.kw.com. If you go into the Market Center intranet, and you could download these. Once you download them, you can add them on here by adding a doc. So you add a doc, and you select from, if it's on your computer, you click on here and you select that form, and it gets added in here automatically, right? And now that's it. You are all set. So now this is how you create your form. You'll be able to go back in here, and this is your buyer agreement form. Anyways, I'm gonna erase this one because I don't need it. That's it. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Watch my next video.